Your body already knows how to be sick. It's been doing it for 300,000 years. Not just the fever, not just the ache. The part where your first instinct, before thought, before reason, is to reach for someone. A hand, a voice, anything warm and human and close. That instinct didn't come from nowhere. For most of human history, getting sick meant something your body still remembers even if your brain doesn't. Real danger. Not the inconvenient kind. The kind where the people who loved you sat beside you and watched and hoped, because hoping was all they had. Or so we've always told ourselves. We have a story about ancient humans and illness. It's a story of ignorance, of frightened people praying to gods they invented because they had nothing real to offer. That real medicine, actual medicine, only arrived when science finally rescued us from ourselves. It's a comforting story. Progress usually is. But in 2022, a team from Griffith University published findings in Nature that cracked that story open. In the Liang Tabo cave on the island of Borneo, they found the remains of a young hunter who lived 31,000 years ago. His lower left leg was gone, not broken, not missing from decay, surgically removed cleanly, deliberately, at mid-shaft. And the bone showed something harder to explain than the cut itself. It had healed. He had survived. Years of survival in the Stone Age after an amputation performed without anesthesia, without antiseptic, without any formal understanding of infection or blood pressure or shock. Someone looked at a wound that would kill this person and decided it wouldn't. Surgery is the dramatic example. It grabs you. But the real story isn't in the extraordinary moments. It's in the ordinary ones. What happened on a regular morning 20,000 years ago when someone woke up with a fever and couldn't stand. That's where it gets strange. They went to the plants. Not randomly, not in desperation. With knowledge that had taken thousands of years to build, passed not through books or schools but through memory and story. A grandmother's voice. This leaf for fever. This root when the stomach turns. This bark when nothing else works. In 1951, archaeologist Ralph Selecki excavated a cave in northern Iraq called Shanidar. Inside, Neanderthal remains. One grave, later examined by Dr. Eric Trinkhaus of Washington University, held concentrated deposits of pollen from at least 8 medicinal plant species. Yarrow, groundsel, ephedra, gathered and placed deliberately around the body. Ephedra. That one should stop you. Ephedra is the natural source of ephedrine, the active compound in a significant class of modern decongestants. A Neanderthal was buried with what is, chemically speaking, a precursor to medicine you can buy at a pharmacy right now. Think of it like a recipe passed down so many times the original cook is forgotten, but the dish still works. Your body responds to ephedrine the same way it did 50,000 years ago, because the plant hasn't changed, and neither has you. Not one person figured this out. A lineage of people, across generations, across millennia, observed, failed, adjusted, and remembered. They were running the longest clinical trial in human history. Nobody gave them a grant. Pause. But there's something plants couldn't fix. And what they did about that changes everything. Pain, we picture ancient people gritting their teeth and enduring it. That is not what happened. Willow bark, the inner bark of the white willow tree, was used for pain relief independently across ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, China, and by indigenous peoples throughout the Americas. Different continents. No contact between cultures. The same conclusion reached separately across thousands of years. It contains salicin. Your body converts salicin to salicylic acid. That's aspirin. They invented aspirin multiple times, alone. A 2019 study in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology, drawing on analysis of 28,000 plant remedies from indigenous cultures worldwide, found that roughly 15% have since been validated by modern pharmacology. 1 in 7. That's not luck. Luck doesn't scale across 28,000 samples. That's pattern recognition so disciplined and sustained it is, by any honest definition, science. Picture a healer, not a shaman, just a person, crouched beside a child burning with fever in 8 BCE, trying the bark, watching, trying again, telling someone else what worked. That person is the first pharmacologist. They just didn't have the word for it. But here's the thing nobody tells you. The most powerful medicine ancient humans possessed wasn't a plant at all. It was the healer, not what they gave, not what they knew. Their presence, the act of choosing to stay. Dr. Ted Kapchuk at Harvard Medical School has spent decades studying what happens when patients receive real, attentive care, even when the treatment is chemically inert. His open-label placebo research found that patients told explicitly they were receiving a fake treatment still improved. Significantly, not because they were tricked, because of the ritual of care itself. Think of it like a system that needs a signal to activate. Your body's healing response is the system, and being genuinely cared for is the signal. When someone stays with you, your cortisol drops, your immune function shifts, your nervous system locked in the alarm state that illness triggers, begins, slowly, measurably, to stand down. Ancient healing rituals look like superstition from a distance. The ceremony, the chanting around the remedy, the elaborate communal attention paid to one sick person. We've called all of that theater, evidence of how little they understood. But what they were doing, without the neuroscience, without the vocabulary, was activating the most sophisticated pharmaceutical system ever built. The human body's own response to not being alone, every instinct they had was correct, not metaphorically, biologically. And the last time you felt a little better simply because someone sat with you, that wasn't weakness. That wasn't your imagination. We measure progress in machines and molecules, and we've come staggeringly far. People live now who would have died in every previous century. That is real and it matters. But before the machines, before the molecules, before the first bark was chewed or the first root pulled from the earth, we knew something. Carried it in the body the way the body carries everything it cannot afford to forget. The hunter in Borneo survived his amputation because someone stayed, cleaned the wound, brought water, decided, without knowing the science behind the decision, that his life was worth continued attention. We don't know their name. We never will. They left nothing behind except the evidence, written in a healed bone, that they were there. Ancient humans didn't know why they got sick. They were working in the dark, with the tools they had, doing the best they could. But they knew one thing with a certainty we are still spending billions of dollars trying to prove: no one should be sick alone.